David Tagawa says, "Hi, Mike. What are the lessons we all can learn from Mark Driscoll and the rise and fall of Mars Hill? Thank you, and pray that God will continue to bless you and your ministry." Thank you very much, David. I appreciate your prayers. So just to bring everybody up to speed. Okay, so Mark Driscoll was a very well-known and very successful pastor and media person, right? A Christian leader. And things went really sour in his church, and things went really downhill, and he made a lot of mistakes. And then now, that was years ago, then now there's a podcast called The Rise and Fall of Mars Hill that recounts, I guess in a lot of detail, all the like sort of soap opera elements that led up to, and they're trying to draw lessons for the church. Now, having said all that, I know this is a super popular podcast. I also have not watched a single episode or listened to a single one of them. I find myself, this is just me speaking personally, I'm not trying to make a judgment about it. I find myself totally uninterested. I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care to sit and go with a microscope over what went on internally in a local church that had issues. I just don't care. Now, there are times when it matters. Like I did that video on Ravi Zacharias, but I hated that too, okay? And I felt like it needed to be done. I thought it had to be done. I explained in the video why I thought it had to be done, because he had been so widely and publicly endorsed. Well, I thought Mark Driscoll, whatever mistakes he's made, I haven't looked into it, to be honest, in detail either. It just doesn't seem like it's something I need to. So I haven't looked into it. What's my encouragement? Knowing so little about the podcast itself, I would say Jesus' rule about getting the plank out of our eye before we look to pull the speck out of someone else's eye is very important here. So as you're analyzing and evaluating somebody else's ministry, as you're looking at the rise and fall of Mars Hill, right? As you're looking at that, you need to first examine yourself and just make sure I'm not feeding my own negative attitudes towards certain people, towards certain kinds of institutions, towards the church in general, towards pastors in general. I'm not feeding that, right? Like that just would be a potential danger that I would encourage people to watch out for. And to realize that I don't know at all about the true accuracy of the people making the podcast. A well-produced podcast means they're going to be confronted with opportunities to exaggerate, misrepresent, leave out certain details, and how they handle that will be up to them. But obviously, if they do it, the news has learned this long ago. If you misrepresent the story, you get a lot more people to buy the paper. So I'm just saying there's at least a potential problem there to be aware of. Yeah. God give you wisdom.